Hi, and welcome to Love on the Autism Spectrum Season 2. If you're a regular listener, please feel free to jump to about the minute and a half mark to skip this introduction. If you're new here, I want to say I'm your host, Barbara Lazzaroni, licensed marriage and family therapist, neurodivergent coach, and creator of the Neurodivergent Spiral of Life. Please call me Blaze. All my friends do. This podcast is for autistic adults, adults with ADHD or complex trauma, and the partners who love them, as well as neurodivergent couples, especially those who are tired of being told to communicate better, try harder, or fix themselves in systems that were never designed for how they're wired. Here, we slow things down. We talk about real relationships, real nervous systems, and real life without fixing, pathologizing, or rushing your process. I bring clinical experience along with decades of lived relationship experience to create a calm, emotionally intelligent space where nothing about you needs to be defended, explained, or justified. Each episode is an invitation to understand yourself, your partner, and your patterns with more compassion, clarity, and choice. We make lots of room for nervous system safety, emotional truth, and the patterns that actually shape neurodiverse relationships without blame, pressure, or performance. This isn't therapy advice. It's lived experience, clinical wisdom, and steady support for those of us who are wired differently. So take a breath, settle in. I am so glad you're here. And just a quick note before we dive in. This podcast is for reflection and education, not therapy. Licensing doesn't create a therapeutic relationship, and I'm only licensed in the state of California. Any client examples I share are purely fictional, and all of the tools or stories are meant to support your self-reflection, not replace personalized care. If you're in crisis or need immediate support, please reach out to a local professional or call 988 in the United States. Okay, now let's get to today's episode. Hi, and welcome to episode 7 entitled When Your Body Disappears Understanding the Freeze Response. So let's slow down a bit together here. Today we're going to talk about a response that's often misunderstood, even by the people experience it. Of the 8 trauma survival types, one of them happens to be freeze. It's not the dramatic kind, not the obvious kind, but the quiet kind, where your body goes still and your thoughts feel far away, and it's hard to move and speak or respond. Many neurodivergent adults describe this as they feel like they're disappearing or going blank or even shutting down, even though they don't want to. This episode is understanding freeze as protection, not failure. And I want to start with a familiar individual experience. Someone I worked with described moments where they wanted to respond emotionally, verbally, relationally, but their body just wouldn't cooperate. They said, it's like my system hits pause without asking me. And from the outside, it looks like avoidance. However, from the inside, it feels like survival. What they didn't know yet was this: their nervous system wasn't giving up, it was conserving. And I notice a lot of my clients, particular neurodiverse clients, land in those two forms specifically of the top 4, which are fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. Freeze and fawn are both of the hypo sensitive ways of being, not the hyper, hypo, so lower than lower than the line, right? So it's freeze and fawn. So today we're looking at freeze. So freeze often shows up when fight doesn't feel safe, flight is not possible, and connection, like fawning, actually feels risky. So it's actually the nervous system choosing stillness over danger. And I want to make sure I say that if all of this is humanity. All of us are experiencing these levels of stress. We all experience them. So one is not good or bad, they're just different. So in spiral layer one, excuse me, freeze isn't something to push through. It's something to orient to gently. This is why words like just calm down or use your words, or even um, people when they say things like try harder to us really don't work. Goodness, just calm down. Oh man, a lot of my clients tell me that they hear that. Um, our body isn't offline, it's protecting. So it's really important to notice that it's protecting. It appears to others to be offline, as if you're frozen. It is really protecting you. So freeze is misread, especially in couples, when it appears to be, it looks like indifference between the two. It also might look like stonewalling, where one person is like totally silent and they're not with you and they won't communicate, or even like a lack of care. Like they don't care about you. However, what also shows up is one partner may feel abandoned, okay? The other one, excuse me again, the other person who's in freeze, they actually feel trapped inside themselves. So when we name freeze as a nervous system response, a typical stress response, and hey, all of us have stress, it's not a relational choice. Space actually opens up. So when we name freeze, this is not for fixing, it's actually for patience with your partner. So, using a trauma informed lens, which I do in all of my work, freeze is actually a biological survival response. It often includes things like this: a slower heart rate, the reduced amount of movement, actual dissociation or numbness. So, for many neurodivergent people, freeze shows up earlier and more quieter, especially after years of masking or sensory overwhelm. So, understanding all of this actually reduces shame. Totally. I know for me, freeze is one of my primary stress responses. So, here's three tools for meeting freeze gently, both for yourself and for your partner. Tool number one, orient before you try and take action. Instead of saying things like, why can't I move? Asking yourself, where am I right now? And I love this practice of one thing you can see, one thing you can feel, and one thing that tells your body you're safe. Let me say those again. One thing you can see, one thing you can feel, and one thing that tells your body you're safe. That's super important. I used to use this for myself so often when I would move into freeze. I love supporting clients using this. Here's another one. Number two, tool, micro movement permission. So freeze softens with small voluntary movements. So maybe wiggling your toes or shifting your weight from one foot to the other, or maybe even one hip to the other while you're sitting down. Maybe even stretching out your fingers. No forcing, just permission to come out of that freeze response. And tool number three, this is actually a relational tool for couples. If you freeze in the relationship, If you can, try sharing the sentence. When I go quiet, it's not because I don't care. It's because my body is protecting me. So if you have had freeze as part of your story, just like me, hear this very clearly. You didn't fail, you adapted. And your body deserves gentleness, not urgency. Real gentleness, because we can come out of frozen when we offer ourselves that gentleness and that kindness. Let me also share at this point in our podcast. So, if these episodes are making sense to you and your patterns or even your relationship dynamics, I invite you, if you're interested, to working with me privately, book a free Clarity and Connection Zoom call. The link is in the show notes. And there's also some free level 1 handouts from the neurodivergent spiral of life that I've created. They all focus on safety, sensory awareness, and early regulation. Boy, these things are so important. And this is why I start with this in my therapy with clients. So many of us as neurodivergent people do not understand our sensory issues. And so if you want to grab more of these free handouts that I've made for you, please do go to my website and click on join my email list. And when you join my email list, you're going to get 3 tools right away. And I'm continuing to build tools all the time. So you'll see more as we go to higher and higher levels throughout this year of 2026. So the first 3 tools that are available right now, one is called Pain Awareness Zones. The other one is a sensory ladder tracker and ritual builder. And the third one is called When I First Felt Different. Okay. These are really important, totally free. Just go ahead and download them. And if these resonate with you, gosh, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so let's jump back into the program. What changes for many people isn't that freeze disappears, it's simply that they stop fighting it. And when they become safe, movement slowly returns. I know this so well for me. When I stopped freezing out so much, I could notice those small movements. Like I said earlier, moving my fingers, and then I could come more back into my body. I used to use this phrase that I live a short distance from my body. I felt like that all my life, ever since I was a kiddo, a teenager, I mean. Um, I think that just has to do with my sensory sensitivities. So I'm inviting you, as you listen to this podcast, your home play for this week, if you choose to do it. And remember, it's not homework, it's home play. First is notice one moment of stillness without judging it. And then, excuse me again, try one micro movement when you feel stuck. Maybe it's wiggling your fingers or toes. Maybe it's just shifting your neck, you know, and moving it left and right, moving your head left and right. And replace the words, I just shut down, with, oh my gosh, my body just protected me. That's what your body is doing. It's protecting you. So remember, especially for those of you who are in couples relationships, whether it be a relationship with your partner, with your kiddo, with your boss, whomever it is, remember that freeze is not absence. It's protection waiting for safety to happen. Okay, waiting for safety to happen. And I'll see you next week when we deep dive into another topic. And I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Take care. Be well. Bye now.